2014. Welcome to the regular open town meeting of Osoyoos Town Council on Monday, January the 20th, 2014 at 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Council Chambers. We are without Councillor Ryan today, who is away on family business, but we do have Mayor Wells on the line with us, and he will be joining in with the meeting. So welcome, Mayor Wells.
Thank you very much.
Could I have the adoption of the minutes, please? The Committee of the Whole minutes on December the 16th and the regular open minutes of December the 16th. And so they will be adopted by consensus unless there is anything that needs to be brought up. No? Okay, business arising from the minutes. Nothing there. Introduction of late items. Mr. Romanko, there's no late items. Thank you. Delegations. We do not have any delegations, so we will go on to the first item of business, and that would be the water matters. And I will look at the orange section in my book here. So Water District cash requirements to January the 20th, 2014 are in the amount of $1,329.94 for council approval. Thank you. That would be Marrera Laranjo. Thank you. Correspondence. Oh, I apologize. Could we have a vote on that? All in favor? Carried. Correspondence. The Pioneer Walkway, the year-end report. There is a report from Carol Bowen on behalf of the Pioneer Walkway volunteers, and she has just outlined several of the things that they had done during the year, and did mention there's a couple of things that she's concerned about. One is that the washrooms need a total update, and they're urging council to consider a paved path parallel to the walkway for cyclists and handicap scooters, and dog droppings are a continual problem along the walkway. In closing, she wishes everyone best wishes for a joyous Christmas season and a happy and healthy 2014. So that report will be received for information. Does anybody?
Could we?
Yes.
I think that I'd rather do something more than receive for information.
Go ahead. What would you suggest?
Could we do something to forward this? I was wondering if we could get an estimate of the washroom issue, and if we could request that information and get it into our budget dialogue that we're having right away.
Absolutely. Could we add that included?
Could we give that direction through Mr. Romanko to staff?
Yeah. If I recall, we have in our business plan to look at all our washrooms and provide council an estimate of dates to them, and but not for any specific expenditure for this year. So we wanted to look at all our washrooms as a whole. So I don't know if you wanted to go one step further to say yes, we want to look at a specific improvement to the Pioneer Walkway washroom.
Could
I'm heading in that direction just because we did have some trouble over there with water leaks and things like that. But also this is sort of a more than one. This is the more than one request for attention, and I wonder if we shouldn't maybe try to advance that and see if it would fit in our budget deliberations to advance even one of them and maybe try to get one done.
Okay, we can add that. I'm hoping we can get an estimate before the 7th. Would council
Thank
also?
you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Would council also like at least to put into the business, because it's not in the business plan at all, to look at a secondary path on the Pioneer Walkway? Is that?
Again, that's a multiple request from previous years. I think we should certainly have it in the business plan, if that's okay with council.
Yes. Could we have that brought forward as a report?
So could I get a resolution directing the administration to provide additional information on estimates for the upgrade to the Pioneer Walkway, and then also to put the development of a secondary path into the business plan for future consideration?
Thank you. That would be Councillor Rhodes and Councillor Plant. And do we need a vote on that?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the next on the, oh, pardon me, go ahead, Councillor Ryan, Rhodes.
Thank you. I just wanted to...
Yeah, he wasn't going to turn it on.
Just wanted to take this opportunity. This is, not only did it have some requests in it, but it's also a bit of an update on some of the activities. We typically get this from Carol Bone at the end of the year, and I just, I wanted to take just a real short period of time here and just thank Carol for everything that they do down there. And one of the key words is they. There's a whole group of people that work down there on a regular basis. Almost every Monday you'll see them working down there, and so often we just let this thing slide by, without showing some gratitude and that kind of thing. But, what a wonderful part of our town, and it's not only like a great place, but it's something that gets improved and bettered every year. And with Carol's guidance and those hardworking volunteers down there, that's what really makes that whole area down there tick, and it draws people that walk along there, and it's a real good, feel-good part of our town as well. And I just wanted to take this short moment and thank Carol and all of those volunteers that work so hard down there for making this such a wonderful amenity in our community.
Good. Thank you very much. That's duly noted. We all appreciate that very much.
If I could just add,
Yes.
just along that, in her letter, she specifically says that they have 16 volunteers that donated 618 hours. So it's always nice to have that type of effort quantified, and
Absolutely.
that is a lot of work put into that particular area.
For sure. Thank you. I'm wondering if, do we acknowledge them at all? We do in the, at the luncheon that we have? Good. Okay. So thank you to all of the volunteers for the Pioneer Walkway. Next item on the agenda is the Osoyoos D.A.R.E program, a request for funding support. And it's a letter addressed to Mayor Wells. As you know, each year RCMP officers teach the Drug Abuse Resistance Education, D.A.R.E, to grades 5 and 6 students, to empower them to avoid the use of drugs and alcohol by making healthy choices. This program has been going on for many, many years. I recall it when I was teaching as well. The D.A.R.E BC is wanting, or a charitable organization partnering with the RCMP to raise funds, and the learning materials cost are $10 a student. During the last 2 years, insufficient funds were raised to cover the full cost of the materials. Sometimes service clubs and PACs will raise money, and there was a $100 shortfall last year that was covered from the reserve fund. This fund has now been depleted, and they would like to ask for some funds to carry on with this program. And I'm just wondering, Mr. Romanko, if this has been done before and how much town has contributed. Do you know?
Well, I've got information from our finance manager that we did not fund it last year. I don't know that there's been a specific request.
Okay.
I don't recall off the top of my head, but I know that we did not fund them anything last year.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Plant.
Yes, I was wondering if it would be appropriate for them to apply to our grant and aid program. This might be a way, I think it's the end of February, we have to have the applications in, but this is, programs that we're looking at supporting, very, very similar to this, some of the needs in our community, and this could potentially be one of those that could be applying for grant and aid. So maybe that would be the suggestion, is to offer them the chance to apply for that.
Thank you. That's a good idea. Does that make sense, Mr. Romanko, to do it that
Certainly,
way?
yes.
Could we suggest that that they be contacted and asked whether that would be an appropriate use or whether they need something immediately? I'm not sure when this starts. They usually do it for like a 2-month period during the year, so it may not have started yet. Would that be appropriate to ask them?
We can have
or-
somebody follow up and see what their timeframes are and see if it fits within the funding model of meeting their needs.
All right, thank you. And we will come back with something on that for the next meeting. Does that make sense?
Well, I think if it follows their time frame, they'll probably make applications, so there's no need to bring anything back.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Rhodes.
Just wondering if you wanted a motion to receive.
Certainly, motion to
receive?
that we contact them and provide them information on the grant and aid program.
Thank you. Rhodes, Plant, all in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have BC Emergency Health Services, Local Government Interest in First Responder Services. It is to...
You missed one.
I'm sorry, what have I missed?
You've missed the SILGA.
SILGA Convention, of course. There it is. I've got it right here. The SILGA Convention, call for resolutions and nominations. That would be... SILGA comes up in the end of April, and I think that if there's anyone on Osoyoos Town Council would like to consider this, we would certainly nominate them. But otherwise, I think we'll just have it received for information. Thank you. So, yes, Councillor Rhodes.
So I'll make that motion to receive, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And are you going to treat the call for resolutions separately? If there's any resolutions that council may want to bring forward?
Okay, resolutions need to be received no later than February the 28th, so we do have 6 weeks to do that. Perhaps we could leave it until the next meeting in February, if there is anything.
Okay, so we'll bring this back to the committee of the whole meeting for February 3rd.
Okay, thank you.
And council that'll give council a chance to think about if they have any resolutions that they want to bring forward.
And do we need that received for information as well, or is that included?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
we'll see that.
Plant Roads, all in favor
Aye.
for both of those? Is that all right?
Both on one resolution.
That's fine.
Perfect.
Thank you.
That's what I got.
Yes, Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you. I'd just like to ask maybe for an opportunity to discuss the resolution portion of this at a committee of the whole meeting prior to the regular meeting. Would that be possible?
That's what I thought I said.
Oh, I thought you said you were bringing it to the report to the regular meeting.
No, to the February 3rd committee of the whole meeting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next item of correspondence is the BC Emergency Health Services, Local Government Interest in First Responder Services. And it is a letter from Wynn Powell, who I graduated high school with. So this is quite interesting to read this. He is concerned about the safety of the public and staff that provide services, and that's what their BC Emergency Health Services Board is looking at. And I think one of the things, it sounds like they've had quite a few meetings, and one of the things that they discussed, and I think it happens more often in the city than it would in a small town, but when lights and siren go on any vehicle, it tends to cause more accidents, more because people are all of a sudden surprised and they either drive off to the side of the road or get into an accident. So it looks like what they've decided is to have only drive lights and siren if the patient's condition warrants an emergency driving response. So that sounds like a very sensible way to do it. They are looking, the reason they're sending us a letter is because they're setting up briefings for municipalities which request an opportunity to further discuss this. And I'm just wondering if anybody thinks that would be necessary for our community. No? Otherwise, we will accept this for information. Right? Roads
If I
plot.
may just comment on the letter, there was some very interesting information in the letter about first responders and the amount of times that people should be called out. Quite interesting that whole letter on the impact not only to the residents and the sirens and that, but some of the processes also.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So we have received that for information, and we don't feel the need to have them come and speak to council. No? So all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, the next section of the meeting is on bylaws, and we have the revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw. And that would be from the Director of Financial Services, or was that Mr. Romanko?
I guess I'll look after it since he's not here.
Okay.
This is an annual report that we bring to council for council to renew their line of credit with the Bank of Montreal. Section 177 of the Community Charter allows the municipality by bylaw to establish a bylaw to provide for borrowing of monies in anticipation of revenue. This bylaw authorizes the municipality to borrow up to $1.5 million to meet current expenditures and pay amounts to meet municipalities' taxing obligations. The line of credit is set up at the Bank of Montreal. This is an operating line of credit. Is used. The revenue from the property taxes must be used to repay the borrowed money. In 2013, the town did not go into their line of credit, and so we're asking that council provide first three readings for the revenue anticipation borrowing bylaw 1303/2014.
Thank you. Council, is that? Thank you. Mr. Councilor Rhodes?
Thank you, and I'll move that option.
And seconded by Councilor Plant. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That was carried. The next item is Pinehurst Developments, a development permit number 13-05 and zoning amendment bylaw.
I'm going to have to recuse myself from this just because of past business practices with the developer. So I guess, seeing as I'm on speakerphone, I guess we'll hang up, and then you'll call me back after this item has been dealt with.
That is correct, Ms. Van Vienen.
We can do that, or we can put you on hold, whichever you want.
On mute.
Does that work? Just to go? Okay, you put me on hold as long as I'm out of the meeting.
Yes.
Put him on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
That's better.
so you can't hear anything?
Can you hear me?
He won't tell us now, will he? Yeah. All right, so Mr. Romanko, you're going to talk about this one?
No.
Oh, Mr. Shannon, I do apologize. Both your names are on here.
Good afternoon, Council. The purpose of this report is to advance zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.81 for Council's consideration of adoption, and a new development permit number 13-05 that will allow for the completion of Pinehurst developments. The subject property is located on the south side of Pinehurst Place in the northwest corner of Dividend Ridge, as shown on the property location map in the report. The property is zoned R6, medium density residential. In 1997, Fairway Hills Development Corporation was issued a development permit to construct a total of 30 units on the property. They were to be constructed over time in 4 phases as a phased strata subdivision. However, as it turned out, only 12 townhomes were constructed and the final phases of the subdivision were never completed. A little later, on February 18, 2008, Council approved development permit number 0707, allowing the applicant, Mike Mortimer, to construct a total of 18 townhomes on the remainder of the site. However, due to a downturn in the economy, a building permit was never issued for the townhomes. So we advanced zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.81, and on December 11th, the applicant submitted the application for that bylaw to add a site-specific permitted use to the subject property that would allow for the construction of 8 duplexes rather than the previously approved 18 townhomes.
May I interrupt you and ask, would that be 8 residences or 8 duplexes, which means 16 residences?
16
16.
units, 8 duplexes.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to just hang up because it keeps ringing back to the council chamber, so I'll call you back, okay? Okay.
On March the 1st, 2010, the bylaw was read for the first time. Also on March the 2nd, 2010, all of the properties within 60 meters were notified. On March the 3rd, 2010, and March the 10th, 2010, notices were placed in the Osoyoos Times. On March the 15th, 2010, a public hearing was held and the bylaw received 2nd and 3rd readings. There was no written submissions received by the town, and there was no public presentations made at that public hearing. Just recently, new land use application signage associated with the rezoning amendment and the new development permit application has been reposted on the subject property for the past few weeks, and staff have not had any inquiries regarding the development proposal as it relates to that signage. Council may have some concerns related to the length of time that has lapsed between the public hearing and the proposed adoption of the bylaw. Please be advised that British Columbia Planning Law and Practice Manual published by Bill Buchholzer states that there is no statutory limit on the length of time that may elapse between the public hearing and the adoption of the bylaw considered at the public hearing. Most councils and boards would likely have some hesitation in adopting a bylaw years after the hearing, but this results from political rather than legal considerations. Some information from Land Use Procedures, our Land Use Procedures bylaw. Section 3.8.4 of the LUP bylaw states that Council will only give final reading for a zoning bylaw amendment in tandem with the issuance of a development permit for the proposed new land uses. In 2013, as you're aware, Council delegated approval authority for new development permits to the Director of Planning and Development Services, provided they're not associated with the zoning amendment. The development permit, the attached development permit number 1305 has been prepared for Council's consideration. Schedule A of the permit shows the layout of the 8 duplexes and the internal strata road, which will provide access to the duplexes and a fire lane throughout the site. Schedule B attached to the permit includes 3D renderings showing the form and character and the colors of the 3 different types of duplexes which have been designed for this development. In keeping with the town's facade guidelines, the exterior of the buildings will be covered in 3 alternating shades of stucco, and the roofs will be covered in clay tiles. Landscaping is designed with varying sizes of crushed rock integrated with ornamental grasses, shrubs, and trees. As a matter of housekeeping, the developer is responsible for removing a Section 219 covenant. In 1997, the covenant was placed on title to ensure that the subsequent phases of the development were constructed in accordance with the original development permit, 9706. So that, as a matter of housekeeping, that has to be removed. Water metering. Staff proposes that all the duplex units be separately metered in the same fashion as single-family homes. Although it is not proposed as a discussion item today, council will have to revisit whether they want to require individual metering for apartments.
Thank you.
The options related to this report: number 1, adopt zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.81 2010 and approve development permit number 13-05. Number 2, request further information. Number 3, do nothing. Staff recommend option 1, that council adopt zoning amendment bylaw number 1085.81 2010 and approve development permit number 13-05.
Thank you, Mr. Shannon. Would Councillor Rhodes, would you like to comment on this?
Thank you. Well, I think I'd be prepared to make a motion based on the recommendation. I did have one question prior to that, though. Is there any compelling reason for us to consider another public hearing other than the opinion that was stated in there? Is there any points you'd like to maybe offer that would cause us to consider that portion of it? I hate to put you on the spot.
Due to the fact, due to the fact that we never had any correspondence related to this development, for or against, with any of the previous applications. The application in 2008, when we did the previous development permit, it was basically the same as this year, but without a zoning amendment, or this one here when it went through all the way through to second and third reading. So. And this has been re-advertised for quite a considerable length of time. So any time that we lose right now it would be problematic for the developer, because as soon as he has a development permit, he's able to market the property, market the development. And personally, I feel it would be a bit of a hardship to make him wait out to redo all those steps.
Okay. Well, I'd be prepared to make that motion based on the recommendation.
Thank you.
And I will second that.
Second the motion. Any other comments? I would just like to say that that when reading the report and realizing, my first thought was, how can we issue this right away? But council will only give final reading to the zoning bylaw amendment in tandem with the development permit. So I feel quite comfortable in okaying this as well. Okay. So all in favor of option 1? Thank you. That is carried. Yes, absolutely. We'll wait till Mayor Wells gets back on the phone.
I'm back. Okay, you're back.
Okay, thank you. And we are now on to the next item, which is licensing and control of dogs amendment bylaw number 1036-04. And this would be Ms. Van Bienen.
Thank you. Licensing and control of dogs bylaw number 1036 was adopted in 1997. At that time, a Schedule C was attached assigning fines for various infractions of the bylaw. Municipal Ticket Information Bylaw number 1279 was adopted in 2011. This bylaw sets out fines for various town bylaws, including the Licensing and Control of Dogs bylaw number 1036. Since fines for bylaw 1036 are set out in the MTI bylaw, there is no need to keep Schedule C to bylaw 1036, and therefore this amendment is being brought forward to remove Schedule C. Basically, where the options being presented to council is that licensing and control of dogs amendment bylaw number 1036.04 2014 be read a first, second, and third time, or that it be referred back to staff for further changes, or that it be abandoned, and staff recommend option 1. But as further information for council, staff is currently working on a more detailed animal control bylaw that will be forwarded to council later in 2014, which will repeal bylaw 1036 in its entirety. This amendment is being proposed as a housekeeping issue for clarity of fines until the new bylaw is completed.
Thank you. Is there somebody who would like to make
Yeah, I can certainly make that motion, as stated.
option 1?
Option 1 would be, yeah.
Thank you. And Councillor Rhodes? Yeah.
I'm good. Yep, I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So that's been option 1, first and second, yes. So all in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
That's carried. And we're now on to the business part of the meeting, and the first item up is a council meeting report. Councillor Rhodes attended a 2-day RDOS budget meeting, and he's requested $100 for that. Councillor Councillor Plant, and I will second that. May I do that? Or Mayor Wells, would you like to second that?
I don't get to second very often, so I'm going to jump at it.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
Councillor Rhodes would like to speak to this.
Well, on 5.5 years of sitting here, is the first time anybody's ever spoke to a report. I just wanted to, just for clarity purposes, it was only a 1-day meeting. And unbelievably, I did have a phone call about this asking me why, or let me rephrase that, almost accusing me of double dipping, because there is a per diem that is paid by the regional district when we attend. This was kind of a unique circumstances. It was a specific budget meeting that is over and above and removed from the normal process, and because Mayor Wells was anticipating being absent, it was necessary for me to attend this meeting, and that's the reason why I've requested this per diem for this. So,
thank you for that explanation. Okay, we're now on to business number 2, the Osoyoos Secondary School Scholarship request, and that would be Mr. Omenko.
Thank you. The Osoyoos Secondary School has sent out their application form to organizations looking for scholarships, bursaries, and awards for graduates of the Osoyoos Secondary School. The date for receiving the completed form is February 7th. There are 3 categories which the financial donations fall into: scholarships, scholastic requirements to qualify; awards, the award is neither scholastic or financial need requirement to qualify; and bursaries, the student must demonstrate financial need or hardship to qualify. In 2013, the town of Osoyoos provided 3 bursaries to students of the graduating class from Osoyoos Secondary School in the amount of $750 each. This is an annual request made by the Osoyoos Secondary School. Consideration may be given by council if they wish to give a longer-term commitment to the Osoyoos Secondary School for graduating students. In terms of implications, this provides a little bit of an assistance to graduating students from Osoyoos Secondary, helping out with some of their post-secondary costs. Organization, the mayor or the mayor's delegate will present the bursaries at the award ceremony. The budget, no budget implications if the amount of $2,250 is not changed. However, any change would affect what remains available in the grant and aid pool of funds. And the Osoyoos Secondary School needs notification of council's decision no later than February 7th, 2014. And it allows for financial support for 3 students going on to post-secondary schools. Administration identifies 3 options, and one is to award 3 bursaries to graduates of the secondary school in the amount of $750 each for 2014. We also provide, looking to an annual award for 3 bursaries to graduates of the secondary school in the amount of $750 each for the next 3 coming years. And we're just looking at this. We know it's going to be an annual report, an annual need, looking at just cutting through some of the paperwork and looking at whether council wants to make a 3-year commitment and allowing them for their financing.
Thank you.
May I comment?
Absolutely, Mayor Wells. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think the amount is the right amount, and I would hate to take away the opportunity of future councils to do that award. And if we did it for, I understand removing the paperwork, but it kind of has a nice hometown touch to it. So I think we should just keep at the level we're at. I understand about the paperwork, CAO Romanco, but there's a real nice thing there about having that council involvement.
Thank you. So, Mayor Wells, are you moving option 1 to award 3 bursaries in the amount of $750 each for 2014?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Would anybody like to second that? I will. May I do that? No?
No, you're in the chair.
Okay. Councillor Rhodes, seconded. Would you like to speak to that, or?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I agree with where Mayor Wells is coming from. It is kind of neat to be able to do this, and obviously we never want to put that on another council. However, I do believe we've probably been doing this for several years through many councils, but it is a nice part of trying. Maybe it's a question that gets asked at the beginning of our next council, so that they can prolong it through their time at council to make it again easier than just being every year. But I do see that we don't want to put all our donation, everything onto our next council when they haven't really had a chance to make that decision. But what a great program it's been, and excited to keep this going forward.
Thank you. And the reason that I would vote in favor of just doing it for the 1 year is because it's possible that the next council comes in may choose to up it to $1,000 each. So this would keep it at $750 if we did it for 3 years going. So I'm definitely in favor of option 1. So option 1 is all in favor of option 1? Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you. And that has been carried. Next on the agenda is the Municipal Buildings Caretaker Contract. Ms. Van Vienen.
Thank you. At the December 16th, 2013 council meeting, council awarded the Municipal Buildings Caretaker Contract to Acme Janitorial. The contract is being presented to council for approval. Council will note that the name on the contract is Larry and Valerie Carlson. They are indeed Acme Janitorial, but have asked that the contract be under their names as they no longer are operating under the name Acme Janitorial. The contract is for a 3-year term with a possibility of 1 renewal for an additional 3-year term. There is a termination clause for non-performance of 30 days notice and the ability for either party to terminate for any reason given 60 days notice. Mr. and Mrs. Carlson have provided proof of liability insurance in the amount of $2 million and have fidelity bond in the amount of $25,000. Under implications for the budget, $865 per month plus additional cleanings of $20 per hour when required. Semi-annual cleanings of carpets, floors, and windows will be contracted out separately. The start date is immediately, and options being presented to council are that the contract with Larry and Valerie Carlson be approved and that the signatories for the town be authorized to sign, or that the contract be amended and returned to the next meeting of council for approval, or that the contract with Larry and Valerie Carlson not be approved, and council is recommending option number 1.
Thank you. Council, anybody like to? Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
I'd like to ask I feel it's a related question, but the change from dealing with a corporate entity to two personal entities, do we have any risk as an employer-employee, in developing a relationship like that? Asking that knowing full well that there is some identification in the contract that clarifies those roles. But so often, trouble comes out of those kind of relationships, and I'm just wondering if we'd research that at all.
They are still required to get a business license, so they'll just be getting a business license under Acme Janitorial. The reason they've asked for it to be in their personal names on the contract is for the check will be made out to them personally rather than to a company that no longer really exists, that they're not operating under Acme Janitorial anymore. So I don't know which name they're going to actually get the business license under, but they will require a business license, so that will mean a different company. But if you prefer, we can change it back to Acme Janitorial, and we'll just make sure the checks are made out to them individually, if that's a concern. We can certainly do that.
Well, I do have a little background with that type of relationship, and even though you clearly state that it's a contractor type of relationship, often, and it always works really well until it becomes an issue for whatever reason, and I'm not suggesting that there's going to be. Irrespective of what it says in the contract, if you can prove that there is an employee-employer relationship, that changes the whole perspective from our point of view, I think, and that's why I always feel more comfortable dealing with a corporate entity, and then it's clear and concise. And
sure, we can do that. We can just change it back to Acme Janitorial on the contract.
Yeah. Sorry to put up that red flag, and I'm not suggesting that anything untoward could happen, but if it did.
But you are still able to make the checks out to the two people involved? Does that work with it or not? They had asked to have the checks made out to Larry and Valerie Carlson. Would the checks be made out to them or to the corporation?
To them.
Okay. So, Councillor Rhodes, are you doing option number 1?
Well, I'm not entirely comfortable with that yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
And I do
Absolutely.
see, and if they have to, then they're going to have to open up a bank account under Acme Janitorial in order to deposit the checks. That's what's going to happen then. If they can't, if.
So would it be better for us to look at option number 2 then, that be amended and returned to the next meeting?
Well, I think if you could just make the resolution that the contract be an Acme Janitorial, and then we can make sure that the rest is taken care of. And if there are any issues, we can bring it back to council. Otherwise, it'll just go as Acme Janitorial.
Okay, I'm satisfied with that.
Yeah, and I have to talk to the Carlsons and make sure that works for them. If not, then we will have to bring it back to council.
All right. Thank you. So do you need
No, that should be good for seconding.
Councillor
that
Plant
makes sense.
and all in favor of, or did you want to read it back to us, Ms. Van Vienen, what you've got
I've
down
just
there?
amended the option to read and resolve that the contract with Acme Janitorial with Larry and Valerie Carlson doing business as be approved, and that the signatories for the town be authorized to sign.
Thank you.
Okay.
All in favor?
I need a second.
Councillor Plant did that, and that was carried. And next we have the license to use for Gyro Beach. That would be Ms. Van Vienen, whenever you've got that ready.
Thank you. At the closed meeting of December 16th, 2013, Council passed a motion to grant a license to use Gyro Beach to 3 Phase Adventures, Inc. for non-motorized water sport activities for the term of June 15th to September 30th, 2014, except for July 1st, at a rate of $3,000 for the term. This resolution was made public at the regular open meeting on the same date. A license to use agreement is attached for council approval. The term is from June 15th to September 30th, 2014 at a rate of $3,000. The limitation is for non-motorized water sports. 3 Phase Adventures will be using the property for paddleboard rentals and lessons, and kayak and human-powered paddle boat rentals. Under implications for community, the recreational activity option for visitors and residents at Gyro Beach. Organizationally, monitoring of the agreement, budget revenue of $3,000, significant dates, June 15th to September 30th of this year, and under sustainability, use of the lands for non-motorized water sport activity, attracting people to the area while keeping the lands in their current state. Options being presented are that the license to use agreement with 3 Phase Adventures, Inc. be approved and that the authorized signatories be authorized to sign, or that the license to use agreement be returned to staff for changes, or that the license to use agreement with 3 Phase Adventures not be approved, and staff recommend option 1.
Thank you. Councillor Plant.
And I would move that we approve the license to use agreement for 3 Phase Adventures, so going with option 1.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes seconded that. All in favor?
Excuse me?
Absolutely. Mayor Wells?
Thank you. Sorry.
Yep. Not a problem.
I don't have a signal light here. When we're looking at this, and We had with three-phase in last year's agreement with three-phase at the Cottonwood Beach. We had an issue over exclusivity of the licensed area, and when I'm looking at this contract under the use of the land, it's definitely a non-exclusive license to use. So have we had a good understanding with the licensee about the exclusivity of this, or lack of exclusivity of this license?
Ms. Van Vienen?
Yes, we have. The non-exclusivity is for the July 1st, and to allow the town to actually still use the lands. However, for actual use by another commercial business, that would be prohibited, and we would be dealing with that if that ever happens. So another business can't set up on that property, which was the issue at Cottonwood, or deliver to that property. We would take care of that as that arises, as in the lease area. This lease area is a little bit more larger and more defined than the one at Cottonwood.
Okay, then could you just sort of scroll down and look at the under use of lands number 1, because it says it's a non-exclusive license, and you're just describing that it is an exclusive license other than July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, after the little, I mean, it wasn't a big deal, but after the little issue we had last year, I just like to make sure that we've got it right, or maybe I'm not understanding it. Could be me. Under use of lands number 1.
Yeah, they don't get the exclusive rights to the lands for, like, the town can use it for other purposes if we need to use it for, or spread onto that portion of the lands. We can do that. It's not, it is exclusive to them for business purposes. But that wouldn't be in the contract. The contract is with us and them, and that would, the non-exclusive means that the town can still, if we have to spread out onto that property for whatever reason, we can still make use of that. That makes sense?
Yeah, I understand, but it's I think it's open to confusion.
Yeah, I see
Okay.
what, so could we have a look at the wording of that again?
We could.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mayor Wells. We'll have a look at Ms. Van Vienen will have a look at the wording of that, and does that make sense?
Can I just
yes,
interject here?
Mr. Armenko.
Article 17 in the agreement says the grantee shall not permit any other person, business, group, or organization not named in the license without authorization from the grantor. So basically, there is statement in the in the agreement that you know, we have to grant authority to whoever uses that property, and that to me provides for the element that it's not an exclusive use, because we have already told them up front that, you know, we have authority in terms of allowing somebody on the lands, including the July 1st. So so it says authorization granted to the grantor shall now be attached to the license prior to any use or occupation of the lands by any of the person, business, group, or organization. So we've identified.
Okay, but then doesn't that make use of lands number 1 all the more bearing that it should be an exclusive license? It would appear to me that we're granting them an exclusive license.
Well, it goes back to general community use. If they're not there, if they're not there, we can use the lands. An exclusive well, I don't know that there's an exclusive lease, but a license provides for other uses.
So the volleyball people could use that particular property if they wish to when three-phase is not there?
I don't think
that
that
means?
infringes on the volleyball courts.
Would you like to have a look at this and check the wording and bring it back to the next?
It is the same wording that we've had always
For
in
other-
this particular agreement. We've had the license to use agreement for Gyro Beach for several years, and it's the same wording that we've used in all of the previous ones. However, we can certainly take another look if you need more clarification on that.
Mayor Wells, would that make sense to?
Sure. Well, yeah. If we could have another look, because we did get into trouble with it last year
At
Cottonwood.
Cottonwood.
at Cottonwood. Yeah.
All right. So rather than have the option 1, we will have option 2, that it be returned to staff. Does that make for more?
What you need to do, you've got a
Yes.
motion on the floor
All
to
right.
accept option 1, so you'll have to vote on that, and then if you need to, put another resolution on the floor.
Okay. So option 1 was that the license to use agreement be approved and that the authorized signatories be authorized to sign. All in favor? So that's 2, and then all and then opposed to that. Mayor Wells, are you opposing that?
I'm opposed to that. Yeah.
And I'll oppose it as well. Now, what does that mean? Two versus 2.
Motion defeated.
The motion is defeated. So, Mayor Wells, would you like to make a motion then, another motion?
That it just be referred back to staff just for the wording.
For wording changes, that would be option number 2.
Okay.
Is there a seconder for that? I can't, can I? I can?
second, yeah.
I can second it. All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mexican standoff here.
So, so that was defeated. Okay, so now where do we go?
That's a good question.
Is there anybody else that would like to make another motion then? Is there any way that we can work our way out of this one?
They're doing this to you on purpose.
Yeah, put the pressure on it.
I can see that. They were supposed to be quiet, not say anything.
Okay. Let's get out of this. Let's find a way out of the hole. It was a little bit hard for me not seeing what was going on.
Right.
Because on the first motion, I didn't get to see hands or anything, so I thought we were on the same page. I don't wish to cause any trouble with this, and I was wondering about a delay as we were talking. Maybe acting Mayor McCordoff could call for a revisit.
All right. Councillor Rhodes and Councillor Ryan, Councillor Plant were in agreement that we go with option 1. And
I don't have any real trouble with that. I just want to make sure that we have the right wording, because we got into a little boo-rah last year with it, with the operators, and everyone's, I'm sure, remembers what went on there. So all I wanted was just some clarity that we all understand exclusive, non-exclusive, when and why and how. That's all I was asking for.
Okay.
So Ms. Van Vienen, can we revisit this?
Ms. Van Vienen would like to speak to this.
Okay, so there's 2 properties that we're looking at. One is the Cottonwood, where we had the issue, and that was a very, very small piece of property where they've got a license to use where they only had basically their tables, and everything else was available for public, and there was no restrictions put on it, which we did in the agreement we have with them this year. There is a buffer area that we've created where no other commercial properties can interfere. In this one, we've got quite a big piece of property, and it is adjacent to the basic swim area for Gyro Beach. So if somebody were to want to use the property to go out into the lake, they have to go from the swim area where the buoys are to this licensed property, and they are not allowed to have another commercial use on that. If that were to occur, we would have the bylaw officers go and have a talk with them, because Three Phase Adventures is actually got the license. They're paying a fee to use that property, not another commercial business. So that's how we would deal with it if it came up on this property. which we haven't had an issue with in the past when we've had other companies using it. So I don't know if that helps or not.
Yeah, no, that helps, and there's it's a lot bigger area down there.
Yes.
But
Okay.
again, there may be they understand that there may be competitors working off the same, not the same beach, but adjacent beach.
Okay. Councillor Rhodes would like to make a motion, I think. Is that,
Well, thank you, yeah. With that opportunity to revisit, I'd like to offer option number 1 up again for debate. And
Okay, so Councillor Rhodes has moved option 1. Is there a seconder?
Yeah, and I will second it again. Yes, thank you.
Councillor Plant has seconded. So all in favor of...
Aye.
Aye. There we go. That was unanimously carried. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. All right. So we are on to the next business item, which is the RDOS Dog Cat Impound Service Agreement. Mr. Romanko.
Thank you. We have in front of us the town of Osoyoos has been providing to the regional district an impound service without compensation or a service agreement. This agreement was being provided, this service was being provided for many years as a kind of good municipal neighbor, and was never questioned until the vicious dog issue that occurred in the summer of 2013. Dogs and cats were being housed from areas A, B, C, and G, with maintenance costs of feeding the animals and kennel cleaning being paid through direct contract between the RDOS and Marshal Services. Attached, please find a service agreement that formalizes the services that we have been historically providing for an additional year. The agreement outlines the services and the compensation for the services. The RDOS has asked for that a one-year agreement be established with a time frame for developing a new longer agreement. If a longer agreement can't be developed, the regional district would have sufficient time to explore other service delivery options. Administration has specifically directed that the service agreement be limited to the areas that are serviced by Marshal Services, who also provide the town services. The administration doesn't recommend having more than one contractor operating on site. In terms of implication, the community benefits from knowing that lost or stray animals are picked up, transported, and housed in a humane manner. Organizationally, considerations include administration time to develop the contracts and liaison with the contractor. There is always a concern that the number of animals will exceed the pounds of capacity. However, having one contractor manage the service assists with controlling the potential problem. In terms of budget, an additional funds of $2,400 plus a per animal fee will be paid to the town. In terms of dates, the RDOS would like this agreement put into place as soon as possible. The second date to be considered is the time frame to develop a new agreement. 4 options listed. 1, council approves the agreement as presented. 2, council makes changes to the agreement and then approves. 3, council denies the RDOS request to enter into an agreement. And number 4, council directs the administration to seek additional information. Administration recommends the town enter into a 1-year animal pound agreement with the RDOS, and council directs the administration to work with the RDOS to develop a longer-term agreement.
Thank you. Anybody like to comment on that? Councillor Rhodes.
Well, I think I'd be prepared to make that motion based on the wording in there, and just one quick comment if there's a seconder.
Yes?
Yeah, there's a second.
Thank you.
Here, yes.
Seconded by Councillor Plant. Go ahead.
Thank you. Just wondering about the numeric value of the $2,400. What is that based on? Was it something that was negotiated with them? Or?
Well, we contacted Oliver, and that's what Oliver is paying. The $200 a month is what Oliver is paying to their contractor. So we thought, that's a reasonable amount. Plus, we have a per animal fee that doesn't include the feeding or the of them. So, it's an additional amount. So we really don't know ultimately how much we'll get, but we know that we'll be getting more than that we were getting before.
Which was 0.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Good. Yes,
Yeah, and
Councillor
further
Klon.
to that, it was kind of nice to have RDOS come in here and recognize the service and what we have done here. So I'm very excited about this actually moving forward, and hopefully this helps out with with what our bylaw are doing in this area and with the service that we've been providing. With they're doing an excellent job, and it's nice that RDOS is recognizing that and now extending that with this agreement. So.
Good. Thank you. And would
Just for some
Yes.
additional, in a go-forward position, we'll be having discussions with the regional district on a new agreement, and it'll be probably fairly significantly different. Then that's why I asked for the second part of the motion. If council has no interest in getting into a longer-term agreement with the regional district, that message should be sent now. Otherwise, we'll proceed and bring something forward to council.
The motion was intended to bring that part of it in as well.
yes. And the seconder
Yes,
as well?
that's correct, yes.
Thank you. So all in favor of the motion the way it stands?
Aye.
Thank you. That was carried. So the next are reports, and we have the general Sun Bowl and payroll accounts and general and Sun Bowl cash requirements to January the 20th, 2014, representing balances in the following funds. Amount to general fund, $777,308.34. The Sun Bowl Arena, $1,346.62, and payroll accounts of $137,265.41. And the recommendations are that the general fund, the Sun Bowl fund, and the payroll accounts be paid and received for information. Correct? Do we need to vote on that?
Approve the general accounts and arena accounts by consensus or by resolution, whichever council prefers, and then payroll accounts for information.
Okay, excuse me, payroll accounts for information, and the other two general accounts and arena accounts adopted by consensus. That's fine. Thank you. Do we need to, we don't need to vote on that one. Okay, thank you. And the building permit for the month of December. There's no report on there. However, if you look at the bottom of the report, it's nice to note that the total to date in 2013 was in excess of $6 million, and the total to date in 2012 was $4.5 million. So I think we're looking at an upward building permits. So I'm sure that due to the winter activity there, people are maybe taking some time off and not doing it in the cold weather. I would think that probably in another month we might see some action on here. So the building report would be received for information. Is that correct?
That's right.
Thank you. And committee reports. The Waterfront Steering Committee minutes, and Councillor Rhodes, you're the chair of that. Would you like to speak to that?
Well, I think I'd like to let the report stand on its own. I think it was a good summary and draws some conclusions. You know, we're working hard to get some amenities and improvements down there done before the season starts, and this kind of gives a little bit of an overview of that project.
Thank you. And several of the items that are talked about in this report will be at the public hearing, which is on, I think it's on the 6th of February. So anybody who's interested could come out and have a look at what has been slated for development down at Gyro Beach. So next is the CAO report.
Thank you to council. Just a few of the things that we've been doing. We haven't had a report since since our December meeting, but overall we had a good Christmas with no issues, and except for some snow just as I left town, and when I came back it was almost gone. So it's been a pretty good winter, to say the least. So starting in the community services, the request for proposal has gone out to and we've had some responses on our community service master plan, so that we should have some closer financial information for our budget work. All our winter programs have started with good registration number. Our Body Wisdom program was a big success with 45 participants over 2 days, including a sold-out hula hoop workshop. So good on the hula hoops. The drop-in pickleball has been expanded to 4 times weekly, and I know probably Mayor Wells is probably practicing down there in Palm Springs, because he had some interest in this. So 4 times weekly, with an addition of a Thursday night session to go to Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings. So we're looking to expand to 5 times weekly to accommodate soaring demand. Gerald applied and received a grant from the Municipal Insurance Association for the purchase of a David arm, which will ensure that the safety of our employees when they are required to enter confined spaces. That's where they wear a shoulders or a harness system, and they're hooked up to a cable, and you can drag them out like that. Good. So that was successful. We're also drafting a working a loan policy, and we'll be forwarding to council in February. In corporate services, they attended provincial court and successfully defended a municipal ticket for an animal infraction. Year-end reports and advertisements are completed. Annual work has begun on the annual report, and information was drafted on the janitor and the Gyro Beach licenses. The new migratory bird damage or danger permit for 2014 was applied for, successful for a total of 15 birds per week. And then also reviewed the dog pound issue. In terms of finance, certainly Jim's been getting budget reports from all our directors to build the budget for next year. So his desk has been very full of paper as he tries to pull all that together. And planning and development, their major highlight was the working with the Outland Design landscape consultants on the waterfront steering committee, developing the landscape designs for Gyro Park and other landscaping projects. And we talked with council about that this morning. And again, just to provide for additional information, that there will be a public open house on February 6th to explore the options for design on these matters. In terms of public works, as I mentioned, good weather has allowed for some maintenance such as pruning and general cleanup. No issues over the Christmas period, and also the report that was commissioned under last year's budget on our road conditions in all of town has been received, and we're in the process of reviewing it. And True will make a presentation to council on this report in March. Myself, I've sent a draft agreement to School District 53 to enable the use of treated effluent on the Osoyoos Secondary School playing fields. So I'm just waiting for a response back from the school district on that. We continue to discuss fire hall financing with the Osoyoos Indian Band and the Osoyoos Rural Fire Protection District, and we're in the processes of formulating a communication plan for the referendum. And we're also working with the union on building a progressive discipline policy. And as I mentioned before, all directors are working keenly on the budget information reports. So that's my report for today.
Thank you, Mr. Romanko. Could we have a motion, please, to receive the report? Thank you. Rhodes Plant, all in favor? Thank you. That's received. We're now on to councillor reports, and first up is Councillor Plant.
Yes, thank you. Great work, Acting Mayor McCordoff. Thank you today for doing that. And I'm Basically going to pass. I just got back from Arizona, enjoying my time with my family. Really looking forward to 2014 as we come up to our budget deliberations, and also the work that's been done. As you can hear the list from our CAO, there's a lot of things that are going on, and we're really excited about for 2014. If you've set goals for 2014, which I hope you all did, I wish you all the best in a prosperous 2014, and I'm looking forward to it myself. So with that, I'm all done. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Rhodes.
Thank you. Well, once again, I was going to pass. I don't have anything to really report on, but I'd like to just let everyone know that we are moving into the serious part of our budget deliberations. And you know, part of the process that seems to work really well is, you know, community engagement, and I really, really like that process when I hear from people about things. And just as a reminder, the budget is not a secret affair that goes on. If you have any ideas or opinions or things you'd like to see done in the community, please come and see me. I'm not going to give my phone number out because apparently everybody in town has it already. So if you need to contact me and you don't have my number, you can always phone the town hall, and they have our email and contact information. So please come and see me, contact me. I'd be more than happy to hear from anybody regarding that matter.
Thank you, Councillor Rhodes. And I'll be next. And I've enjoyed the first couple of weeks of January because it's been quite quiet. And while I've been into town hall a few times to sign checks and things, I've got a lot of chores done at home. So it's a nice time after the hustle and bustle of Christmas and New Year's. There are a couple of things on this weekend, and you know, all of a sudden after a quiet time, things start to really pick up again. And the South Okanagan Chamber of Commerce is having a Business Excellence Awards on and a dinner on Friday night at Watermark. And I always think it's so nice to be nominated for one of those awards, and I'm sure winners feel very special as well. But there are many people nominated by their peers for Business Excellence Awards. So watch out for that, and there has been some articles in the paper about it. There's also Desert Sun Grand Night Under the Tuscan Moon, and that is on Saturday night, and that is a fundraiser for Desert Sun. So I think there may be tickets still available for that. It's a dinner and dance, and I believe Mayor Wells and Martha are planning to attend that when Mayor Wells gets back. The Art Gallery has a new show on called Colors in Winter, and it's on at the Art Gallery on the same street here until February the 8th. Apparently it's a juried show and very lots of great colors. The library, the Osoyoos Library, has a special story time that they've started up for the next couple of months, and it's on Thursdays at 10 a.m., ages 3 to 5. Great way to introduce your young children to reading books, so visit them. And I read in the paper that the Craft Hockeyville buzz has started again. I'm not sure exactly where we're at with that, but Kathy Martins, I think, has been busy trying to round up a little excitement over that. So please have a look at that and vote. Maybe Osoyoos will pick up a little momentum and win that this time. And just two more things. One, if you haven't had your flu shot, I think that we've read enough things about it in the paper and in on TV shows that a flu shot is a positive thing. Several people have had bad cases of the flu, and if you haven't had one, please consider it. Check your doctor, check the Pharmasave and Shoppers Drug Mart, and consider getting one. And this is a good time of year to get back into doing exercise. You know, after Christmas, when we tend to eat a little too many cookies and chocolates and so on, there's, I see that yoga has started up again. The gyms in town are quite busy, and the Sonora Center has lots of good programs where you can go and enjoy visiting other people and get yourself feeling in shape. So that's my report, and I would like to ask Mayor Wells if he would like to give a little report.
Thank you, Councillor McCordoff, Acting Mayor McCordoff. Yeah, I'm just at the tail end of my annual holiday. I'm in California. I will be home at the end of this week. It's amazing the number of similarities between, well, they're a little bit bigger towns down here, but you know, they're in that 30 to 40,000 range, sort of like Penticton. But how similar they are in the same number of issues they have here that we have in the town of Osoyoos. It's been quite enjoyable. I volunteered for the Humana golf tournament, which was pretty neat to be out there with all the pros and walking around. I was on a mobile device enforcement team and got to walk both golf courses at PGA West. So I didn't get to play them, but I got to watch them, and that was pretty neat. So looking forward to getting back home. We've got lots in front of us. And I think that's basically my report from. This is my second day I've spent on conference calls while on my holidays, and one more for the public. We had our committee of the whole meeting, and it was on the web on Granicus today. So we just started doing that, and it's rather a neat meeting to pick up because it's not a binding meeting where we're making resolutions. It's where the ideas first come up and where a lot of delegations come and make presentations about things they'd like to see happen or things in the future, which make it onto the agenda of the regular meeting, which is our afternoon meeting. So it's pretty neat to have that COW meeting out there, committee of the whole meeting out there, and people being able to watch it. So again, this is taking that further, that next step into transparency and involvement, and letting people see what's going on with their town council. So it was pretty good to have it online today. So that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Wells, and drive safely on your way home later on this week.
I will so.
Thank you. Could I entertain a motion to adjourn, please? Rhodes Plant, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. That was carried. Done.